Welcome back, and joining us on the show now is Mr. Atul Chaturvedi. He's Executive Chairman, Shree Renuka Sugars. Mr. Chaturvedi, hi, thank you so much for joining us. Talk about sugar first, because we are in a full crushing season right now. And while there are a lot of numbers flying around on how Maharashtra may not even meet the revised down number because of the yield concerns here, what are your numbers that you're working with right now?
I have still not revised our numbers. In fact, Maharashtra, the problem was that crushing actually started a little late. There was some kind of an agitation in the Kolhapur region for price increase and things like that. So I won't put too much on that lower number. But yes, definitely the numbers are lower by about closer to 5%, 11% on an all India basis. But that is very much on the card. That was expected because both Karnataka and Maharashtra seem to be having a lower crop this year. UP seems to be doing all right, and UP crushing is also in full swing. So overall, what we had targeted or what we had assessed that India would produce close to about 29 million tons, we are still sticking with that number, and about 3.8 to 3.9 million tons of diversion towards ethanol. So we have still not revised our numbers.
How are you also looking at the international prices? Because from a 12-year highs, we've seen correction come in for this one as well. So from almost 28, we are trading at below 26 right now. If you look at the last 1 week itself, we are down by nearly 5.5% therein.
Well, you're absolutely right. In fact, Brazilian crop keeps growing. I do not know how it keeps increasing every day. In fact, earlier we were talking in terms of a Brazilian crop of about 620 million tons in terms of cane. And now there is talk that the cane number could be actually closer to 645 million tons. But this fall in the New York market was largely because the funds had taken it up a little too much. And December being the month where they actually take their profits and their bonuses also get decided in this month. So they had to take their profit. As you say, the profit taking actually took place. But yesterday, the market has again bounced back because at a fundamental level, in terms of the world availability of sugar, nothing much has changed. Brazil still continues to struggle with its logistical nightmare, and sugar remains largely trapped in Brazil. So a bigger crop in Brazil doesn't necessarily mean more sugar available to the world.
Clearly, and we still have concerns coming in from Thailand, and the Chinese demand seems to be improving as well. But moving on to ethanol then, and that is a big story in India, and a conversation that does not go down, does not die down rather. So what is what would you say is the overall capacity right now? Because in a latest letter in Parliament, we did see it pretty much being on timeline on the targets of 2025. What would you say is required in sense of investments and added liters to achieve that?
As a matter of fact, in terms of the capacity, I think what they've said in the parliament, the minister has said it's closer to about 14 billion liters, which is, as of today, reasonably on track. But the bigger problem would be that if they are not going to be jacking up the price of ethanol, you might see that the diversion of sugar to ethanol may come off a bit. And with paddy and other grains prices being revised upwards, I'm not too gung-ho as far as diversion of grain to ethanol is concerned, unless and until a massive amount of subsidy is given. So we'll have to keep a close watch on that. And we are also looking at if the price increase for ethanol comes about, then there's no reason why we would not have more than 4 million tons of sugar getting diverted. And this year's target for the government is about 15% as against last year's target of 12%, which had been achieved. So if the 15% target has to be achieved, I think the sugar industry will have to chip in with a lot more than what is being currently factored in.
And wouldn't you say that it's quite delayed for the price hike announcement that was due to come?
It was expected because the elections were happening in quite a few states. and it was expected that the government would not like to do anything which could be inflationary as far as sugar values in the country is concerned. Now the elections are behind us, and the government has come back with a thumping majority in 3 states. And we should not forget that our Prime Minister is absolutely sold out on the idea of biofuels and bioethanol and things like that. So, and we are committed to zero carbon emissions by 2070. So I think the government will now probably seriously relook at jacking up the prices, which have been in the works for quite some time now. And that should help.
I absolutely would.
Okay, all right, Manisha, thanks very much for that. So that's the entire wrap in terms of sugar. Just want to point out that there is some amount of traction on the upside which is coming through on the markets, and that is indicative in the fact that the mid-cap index has recovered completely from the day's low. So it's just about flattened out, and we have the Bank Nifty which is building on gains up around a 540-point rally that we're seeing currently for the Bank Nifty. Mid-caps back or very close into breaking into the green again. Well, with that, it's a wrap on Halftime Report. Business Lunch will take all of the action forward. Stay tuned.